Appointment to FEMA should be finalized within the week. I've already discussed the matter with the senator.
I take it he was agreeable?
He didn't really have a choice.
Has he been infected?
Oh yes, most certainly. When I mentioned that we could put him on the priority list for the ambrosia vaccine, he was so willing it was almost pathetic.
This plague, the rioting is intensifying to the point where we may not be able to contain it.
Why contain it? Let it spill over to the schools and churches. Let the bodies pile up in the streets. In the end, they'll beg us to save them.
I've received reports of armed attacks on shipments. There's not enough vaccine to go around, and the underclasses are starting to get desperate.
Of course they're desperate. They can smell their death, and the sound they'll make rattling their cage will serve as a warning to the rest.
I hope you're not underestimating the problem. The others may not go as quietly as you think. Intelligence indicates they're behind the problems in Paris.
A bunch of pretentious old men playing at running the world. But the world left them behind long ago. We are the future.
We have other problems.
UNATCO?
Formed by executive order after the terrorist strike on the statue. I have someone in place, though. I'm more concerned about Savage. He's relocated to Vandenberg.
Our biochem corpus is far in advance of theirs, as is our electronic sentience, and their ethical inflexibility has allowed us to make progress in areas they refuse to consider.
The augmentation project?
Among other things, but I must admit that I have been somewhat disappointed in the performance of the primary unit.
The secondary unit should be online soon. It's currently undergoing preparation and will be operational within 6 months. My people will continue to report on its progress. Necessarily, the primary will be terminated.
We've had to endure much, you and I, but soon we'll be ordering a new age.
Aquinas spoke of the mythical city on the hill. Soon, that city will be reality.
And we
better than God. Good evening, everybody. It's been a while. Welcome to the Midnight Show. It's, May 22nd, 2023. And it's been a crazy past couple of weeks. There's just been shit going down. So where do we start? Rip Crocko, that's right. Davey Crocko passed away, our old co-host. F's in chat. Go ahead and put an F in there. In fact, now that we're on that topic, I believe, did I finish? If you'll bear with me just a second here, chat. I think this should be it right here.
Why do people keep thinking that I'm gay? I was married to a woman, so there shouldn't be this much of a debate over my heterosexuality. Is it really that hard to believe that I am not a homosexual? I'm attracted to women, okay? It shouldn't be this hard to believe. I, Steven Crowder, am attracted to women. I really like their curves. Yes, that's right, their curves. I find it difficult to look away from women sometimes because they're so beautiful. Why do people keep thinking that I'm gay?
Okay, it wasn't that one. But I had a nice little eulogy read by the Steven Crowder bot. Maybe it's this one.
I take it he was agreeable? Has he been infected? This plague?
Okay, no, I was trying to make... I was using the 11 Labs AI bot. I was trying to do the Deus Ex. Here, I'll give you guys a taste.
But the world left them behind.
Has he been infected?
Oh yes, most certainly. When I mentioned we could put him on the priority list for the ambrosia vaccine, he was so willing it was almost pathetic.
Good stuff. I can't seem to find it. But anyway, yes, rip Davey Crocko. Rip Davey Crocko. Man, there's been a bunch of shit that's happened in the last few days, or last week or so, that I've just been continually putting more shit on the, okay, we'll talk about this, then we'll talk about this. So there's just a ton of stuff. We got Steven Crowder's divorce. Apparently he was also exposing himself to his employees. So we'll read about that a little bit. This story just came out today, actually. Not that, to the surprise of absolutely fucking nobody, Bill Gates blackmailed by Jeffrey Epstein over affair with Russian bridge player. This was on Zero Hedge, and this has been making the rounds on social media. So let's see here. Turns out that he was seen with this woman here. Let's see. According to the Wall Street Journal, Gates met Antonova in 2010 at a bridge competition, leading to an affair. 3 years later, after Gates' associate Boris Nikolic referred to her as Jeffrey Epstein to help raise $500,000 for an online bridge business, which failed to pan out. Epstein paid for her to attend coding classes. So he paid for this chick to learn to code. You see where the girl looks like his daughter? I did not see that, and that's fucked. In 2014, Antonova stayed briefly at an apartment in New York City provided by Epstein, but claims not to have met with the guy who paid for her education. Then in 2017, the pedophile financier allegedly blackmailed Gates over the affair, demanding in an email that the Microsoft co-founder to reimburse him for Antonova's education. Given the de minimis, I don't know the proper pronunciation of that amount involved for both men, Gates interpreted this 2017 email as a threat to expose his 2010 affair. So it says here, so poor boner killer Bill was actually an Epstein victim all along, you see, and everyone interviewed for the report says they knew nothing about Epstein's pedophile sex trafficking operation and was disgusted with what he did, etc. Yeah, Jennifer Gates. I'll try to remember to check that out. I'm surprised it didn't get mentioned in here, but yeah. So there are still developments in the Epstein story. Like, I guess none of us should be shocked. All right, but let's switch over to this right here. Like I said, a lot of stuff has just been happening the last week or so, specifically. Shock. Biden told leaders of the G7 that he convinced Australia, Japan, and India to form an organization called the Quad. Prime Minister Kishida had to remind him that Trump actually put the organization together, which is...
And what's going on now is, look at the meeting we had here today and yesterday, the Quad. I bet you, maybe some of you thought it, but I doubt many people in this audience or any other audience would have said that 2 years after being elected, I'd be able to convince India, Australia, Japan, and the United States to form an organization called the Quad to maintain stability in the Indian Ocean and the South China Sea.
So you remember, every time, Trump leaned in the wrong direction, we had to see worldwide news coverage as if he invaded Poland. Meanwhile, no one gives a real flying fuck about this guy, whatever the hell he's doing. Okay, there was something specific. We'll just continue on from that, all right? So here's a video from UC Berkeley. And this is what their blacks only graduation ceremony looked like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
Aramis Anderson said the last shall be first and the first shall be last. Receiving a Bachelor of Arts in Disciplinary Studies field, Political Economy, Legal Studies, and African American Studies. He said disbursement and allocation, reparations for African Americans, and...
It's like a parody. It makes South Park look reasonable by comparison. But here's another good one I saw when I was putting shit together earlier. Why waking up early is rooted in white supremacy. That's right, everybody. If you got up early, if you thought to yourself, I'm gonna maybe wake up a little bit early, have a smoke, maybe a cup of coffee. Well, I hope you're ready to throw a fucking Roman at the same time. We're well beyond satire at this point. For real. For real. And like at first I thought to myself, is this person real? And yeah, it's sitting there with 93,000 followers on Twitter. It's been a fucking wild ride, man. But let's continue on forward, because I believe this is I saw this clip on my feed when I was getting shit together. Like, this is perfect. This perfectly encapsulates the fucking timeline we found ourselves in. So, according to Adam Green in this clip here, Alex Jones says Kanye and Nick Fuentes set him up, and that the ADL is a leftist front group hired by super Nazis.
The ADL infiltrate employees into your business. My instincts, my soul says, we have got to admit we have a global corporate takeover, a mad scientist, and we have to peacefully dismantle it. But we cannot play their games because these eugenicist super Nazis have hired leftist groups like the ADL to be their front. We have to transcend that and not become Kanye West, who I'm not attacking, but obviously has been sucked into the paradigm. Or who knows, because of his tax issues, he might be working for him. He might be threatening to put him in jail if he doesn't go around and try to set people up like he did that day sitting around here in the chair next to me. But I saw that coming a mile away. My wife's got good sixth sense. She said, don't do the interview. It's a setup. And I said, I know it's a setup, sweetheart. But I'm not going to fall into their trap. I love everybody.
And there's a part 2 here. Hold on.
Clamp down on, other than maybe some. I love everybody. Oh, the Jews run it all, according to the yays of the world. But then why was Israel the most clamped down on, other than maybe Singapore? But here's Elon Musk.
And he's giving it all he can, man.
For saying George Soros hates humanity and wants to tear down civilization. Well, that's what the New World Order is doing. So the ADL comes out and says he's helping Nazis. So he comes out and says we shouldn't have an agenda to implode society like George Soros has for lawlessness, crime, stealing pension funds. And then the ADL goes, Jews, 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 to make it about that. To hide behind that.
I want that to be my ringtone.
Instead of having a discussion about what George Soros and others stand for. Why the ADL and some of their scholars and others are very proud and want you to know, since the 60s, they infiltrated populist, quote, right-wing groups and posed as racist at public events to discredit the groups, like the Patriot Front. And they broke into police stations and did so much more. And they want you to know that they're an intelligence agency working with the CIA and FBI.
I want to get the
it's all in
soundboard
the
back,
article,
man. I miss it.
to stop Nazis from taking over and killing Jews. Oh, so you've got to take all our rights and spy on us and infiltrate us and say we're racist and lie about us so the tyrants don't take over. No, you're creating an atmosphere that'll destroy everybody. I'm not an apologist for Jews or anybody else, but they're individuals. Do you think the average Jew knows this is going on? No. They believe the hype because they're being persecuted, just like black people think Whitey's out to get them. The globalists are out to get everybody. And they were effectively educating people. And they said, get out of the Vietnam War in the mid-'60s. So they got infiltrated, and here's the ADL, how they infiltrated them, how they demonized them, how they lied about them, how they committed crimes against them, and how they've done it ever since to everybody else, and how good they are.
That's right. That's right, Alex. You tell them, buddy. All right, so this is quite possibly the funniest fucking thing I've seen in a long ass time. Normies saw this shit and were telling me about it, and like I'm at work, and I just had a feeling about the person. I'm like, hey, do you happen to know who George Soros is? They're like, yeah, dude, you see him get roasted? He comes out and says, hey, I'm not dead, and everyone just comes out to go, well, too bad. well, you know, we'll just wait it out. Can't be too long. Sitting here looking like a fucking, like a Sith villain. He got ratioed, right? Sitting here at almost 14,000 replies, 11,000 likes, 5.9 million views. So, like, the majority of people thought to themselves, damn, that's unfortunate. Like, and I'm not even fucking around. Like, you can go and see this shit. Like, it's brutal. It's fucking brutal. Quit playing games with my heart, demon. I'm happy. Oh, here's one. Here's one. I'm happy you are well. Wishing you a long, long, happy and healthy life. You're not verified. We don't believe it's you. George Soros could afford $8 a month. I mean, fair point. I knew it wasn't true because you don't have a heart. No words. Satan is keeping your room warm for your extended stay. Just nothing but disappointment. Huh. I never noticed that they kind of do look alike. Just everyone, it's just united to basically go, that's fucking disappointing. Too bad. Fuck, man. Sargon ended up rejecting liberalism. I'm surprised that's still going around. I did see that he's still around. So yeah, that's unfortunate. So if you ever need a bit of a pick-me-up, folks, just go to George Soros' Twitter, go to the most recent reply, and just read some of the comments, and think to yourself, at least people don't hate me this much. Fuck. I do like this one. This one was almost the thumbnail. The Dianne Feinstein with Soros' face on it. Sargon's doing the Tim Pool grift. I mean, it's a tried and true grift. Let's see. Where was speaking of Tim Pool? I saw this on my timeline. You know, while I'm browsing shit. Why some people are spreading false rumors about the Texas gunman, and then just a picture of Tim Pool, who wasn't the Texas gunman, by the way. What a bunch of assholes. No, I believe what they were saying. Like, the reason everyone's associating Tim Pool with the Texas gunman is he like watched Tim Pool or allegedly was radicalized by Tim Pool. You know, you just can't help. I just can't help but find it laughable. You know, everybody who's an independent content creator, if any of their fans, for lack of a better word, go and do anything, then they were absolutely influenced by all the independent creators that they watched. But when some mass shooter happens to, I don't know, be a fan of Late Night with Stephen Colbert or Jimmy Kimmel, they don't seem to be inspired by them. You notice that they don't seem to, that standard only applies one way. You gotta love this shit. Okay, let's go on to this one. We'll move on to this story here. So, Tucker Carlson got fired from Fox.
Carlson.
Now, from what I understand, he said that it's in some email referring to a bunch of people like beating a man while he was down and saying this is not how white men fight. Then it begs the question, well, how do white men fight? Which the sentiment, as far as I understand it, the sentiment is we're better than this. We should not be animals, which is a good sentiment. But apparently it was their excuse for saying, no, you know what? Fired. Yeah, 132 million views. That's nuts. Yeah, let's go ahead and click on.
You often hear people say the news is full of lies, but most of the time that's not exactly right. Much of what you see on television or read the New York Times is in fact true in the literal sense. It could pass one of the media's own fact checks. Lawyers would be willing to sign off on it. In fact, they may have. But that doesn't make it true. It's not true. At the most basic level, the news you consume is a lie of the stealthiest and most insidious kind. Facts have been withheld on purpose, along with proportion and perspective. You are being manipulated. How does that work? Let's see. If I tell you that a man has been unjustly arrested for armed robbery, that is not, strictly speaking, a lie. He may have been framed. At this point, there's been no trial, so no one can really say. But if I don't mention the fact that the same man has been arrested for the same crime 6 times before, am I really informing you? No, I'm not. I'm misleading you. And that's what the news media are doing in every story that matters, every day of the week, every week of the year. What's it like to work in a system like that? After more than 30 years in the middle of it, we could tell you stories. The best you can hope for in the news business at this point is the freedom to tell the fullest truth that you can. But there are always limits. And you know that if you bump up against those limits often enough, you will be fired for it. That's not a guess, it's guaranteed. Every person who works in English language media understands that. The rule of what you can't say defines everything. It's filthy, really, and it's utterly corrupting. You can't have a free society if people aren't allowed to say what they think is true. Speech is the fundamental prerequisite for democracy. That's why it's enshrined in the first of our constitutional amendments. Amazingly, as of tonight, there aren't many platforms left that allow free speech. The last big one remaining in the world, the only one, is Twitter, where we are now. Twitter has long served as the place where our national conversation incubates and develops. Twitter is not a partisan site. Everybody's allowed here, and we think that's a good thing. And yet, for the most part, the news that you see analyzed on Twitter comes from media organizations that are themselves thinly disguised propaganda outlets. You see it on cable news, you talk about it on Twitter. The result may feel like a debate, but actually the gatekeepers are still in charge. We think that's a bad system. We know exactly how it works, and we're sick of it. Starting soon, we'll be bringing a new version of the show we've been doing for the last 6.5 years to Twitter. We'll be bringing some other things too, which we'll tell you about. But for now, we're just grateful to be here. Free speech is the main right that you have. Without it, you have no others. See you soon.
So the potential for Tucker to start his own network is there. Let's say, I don't know, he gets a couple of these people who are fairly good at what they do. He might have something. So who knows? Who knows how this might pan out? But it'll be good. By the way, good to see you all. Let's move on down the line. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, he'll probably get the InfoWars treatment for sure.
Crowder was known to expose his genitals to...
Okay, all right. So
and now there's this newspaper article out this morning where it says, quote, Crowder was known to expose his genitals to staffers.
Well, hold on a second. Yes.
Yeah, well,
yes.
Just wait. I mean...
That did happen. I mean, what are you talking about? The Terminator 2 sketch?
No, but at the time, you only had 5 employees, and they were all male.
Well, yeah, I know, but it was a Terminator 2 sketch because remember the nudies didn't fit?
Oh,
is it that one, Sam?
Yeah.
Well, now there
was it the ET ones through the cornfields where we had to run naked through the cornfields?
Yeah, we were naked in that one. Yeah,
we were naked in that one too.
That was a good one.
That was the night though.
Was it Gay Captain America? Because what happened is
a little cold.
The onesie didn't fit, so we just had to make it a nosy, and there was no.
Well, now that there are ladies here, we have to run things differently. This isn't like the Terminator clip.
Well, I know it's not like the Terminator clip. Do we have? Well, yeah. Do we have the Terminator clip?
Let's play the clip.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Come with me if you want to learn.
Look, okay, of course,
That's
yes. Many
inappropriate.
people saw my balls.
Well, yeah.
But I had a sock on because the nudies wouldn't fit. You couldn't do it. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
You have a large
what
posterior.
an offense.
Yes, exactly.
So nudies don't
And there were also times where we played the spot the ball game.
Yeah. Well, we need to stay on topic as well.
Okay, I thought it was a topic.
Continuing with the infractions, Riley said, quote, "Govern me harder, Daddy."
Riley?
Oh.
She ran away.
She doesn't even seem remorseful.
Wow. Jeez, Riley?
Riley said that. These aren't all that bad. I mean,
Taking
but thank
ownership.
God we didn't get to the high point. Your mic isn't really working all that well.
Yeah.
I think.
Wait.
You know, actually, hold on a second. The gain, you hit the gain button over here.
Oh, okay. Let me.
It's right there.
Is that your testicle?
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
He sucks, Sam. Sam sucks. All right, man, get out of here.
Oh, got him again. This is so great.
Works every time.
Jeez. You know, I'm still trying to live down the fact
Finding
that
out he was
Darren
giving
Crowder
everyone
stole
the
the pace
old
car at
flash.
Talladega in '86.
Oh,
Does not
that's right.
surprise me in
That's
the
right.
slightest. So that came out when, let's see, and this is, of course, according to Occupy Democrats, so, take that for what it's worth. Breaking right-wing personality Steven Crowder's scandal worsens as it's revealed that he allegedly ran an abusive company and frequently exposed his genitals to his co-workers and employees, in one instance going so far as to allegedly place his junk on a former producer who had fallen asleep in a van. The disturbing allegations come shortly after a video went viral of Crowder's verbal abuse of his pregnant wife, ordering her to do chores and yelling, "I will fuck you up." The clip emerged after it became public knowledge that Crowder and his wife were going through a divorce. The new allegations claim that Crowder acted like a complete monster and regularly harassed his employees, acting like a bully, and displayed his penis and testicles without consent. It should be noted that Crowder once ran a Change My Mind segment in which he claimed that rape culture is a myth. Once again, we discovered that a prominent Republican is a depraved predator and pervert. Retweet if you hope that his employees sue him. Oh yeah, I do have that up here somewhere. Let's see. I believe I have it up here. Okay, I can find it here in a second. The so-called right-wing Crowder. I think Crowder is one of those people who's in it for being a famous person and less about anything he actually stands for. Let's see. All right.
Okay, I love you. I love you very much.
I don't love you. That's the big problem. I've never received love from you, and the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D, just be disciplined about it.
I've been catching some of Fish Tank.
But I love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves. No. But I love you more than life itself. That's not fair. It's not fair, and it's disingenuous.
This was not my choice. My then wife decided that she didn't want to be married anymore. And in the state of Texas, that is completely permitted. That's not my choice. She simply wanted out, and the law says that that's how it works. Now, of course, look, I get it. There are multiple sides to every story, but one thing that is undeniable in this case is that it's no one's fault but my own in that I picked wrong.
I remember seeing that where he's like, legally, she's allowed to do this. He says something to that effect at one point. He's a strange one for sure. I don't exactly get that straight vibe, so to speak, from him. All right, let's bring up our next thing here. Just another second here. Yeah, here's a take from very overrated author Stephen King. Tucker Carlson, this isn't how white men fight. Despicable. Like, man, don't you just get tired of the fucking pearl clutching? Have an actual personality, maybe. Or like a take. Alright, I'm gonna close that out.
You've made me.
Here we are. Here we are.
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either.
See,
Do you understand the difference between my life being set to the second and you going, I'll be back when I'm back?
Stephen.
And making it work. The only way out of this is discipline and respect. It's the only way out of it, or we're at an impasse.
We are at an impasse.
Good. Because you can't have any discipline and respect.
Stephen.
Yeah. There you go. You throw your hand, you give up so easily.
I don't give up, Stephen.
Hillary,
Stephen?
you give up so easily. I just said the only way out of this is discipline and respect. You said, then we're at an impasse.
Stephen, no, we are at an impasse, okay? I love you, but Stephen, your abuse is sick. Your abuse
Watch it.
is sick.
Watch it. Fucking watch it.
I'm gonna let go. I'll get what you need me to get. And I need some space. We need to just talk and baby for a little bit, okay? I love you. I love you very much.
I don't love you. That's the big problem. I've never received love from you. And the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D, you just be disciplined about it.
You gotta wonder, if he really never received love from this woman, why did he marry her? You know? More likely that he's just a drama queen and kind of full of shit.
No. But I love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves. No. But I love you more than life itself. That's not fair. That's not fair, and it's disingenuous. Hillary, you're right. We're at an impasse. Become someone, listen to me, day in and day out, worthy of a wife. No, not as a wife. I didn't say as a wife. As a wife. Hillary, come on now.
I'm not gonna engage. I'm not gonna engage.
Yeah, right. She's
I'll
pregnant.
get text me what you need. I'll get you what you need. I love you. I'm committed to you.
Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm not gonna.
Are you committed enough to do those things? You're not committed to anything. You're not committed to anything. You just said I love you. I'm committed to you. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm gonna just
walk the dogs. Put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to get the medication the dogs take? No, you take Betty.
Has to scream, "I will fuck you up," to his pregnant wife. Ah. Let's see, that's okay. Okay, there is a. I was gonna say, isn't there an article here? Exclusive video reveals Stephen Crowder emotionally abusing his wife. Statement: Hillary Crowder's family says she hid his emotionally abusive behavior for years. Towards the end of the exchange, Hillary Crowder says to her husband, "Your abuse is sick." He snaps at her, saying, "Watch it. Fucking watch it." I mean, you would think with he's on the Blaze, right? He should be bringing in money. They should be able to just hire somebody to work and grab shit for him, or DoorDash it or whatever. Good old Crowder. Good old Crowder. I guess she didn't change his mind, eh? Ah, there we go. That's why it wasn't looking quite right. Well, I got to switch it back anyway because I'm going to go back through these tabs. Why waking up early is rooted in white supremacy. Good stuff. I love this so much. Dude gets ratioed just by saying, hey, I'm not dead, by the way. Like, damn, dude.
Ukraine to win.
Yeah, I did see this clip of Trump on CNN, basically saying, you know, I'll just go ahead.
In this war.
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people and breaking down this country. Now,
what do you? Can I just follow up on that? You said you don't think in terms of winning and losing. Mr. President, can I just follow up on that because that's a really important statement that you just made there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying. And I'll have that done. I'll have that done
really
in 24 hours.
Nuts, right? Just seeing how they just straight out go, hey, how come you don't support Ukraine? As if there's any fucking reason why I should support any fucking war.
And you need the power of the presidency to do it.
But you won't say that you want Ukraine to win.
How many Trump actors do you think there are? That's a good
I want
question.
Europe to put up more money.
This whole thing.
Because they're in for 20 billion, we're in for 170, and they should be, and they should equalize. They have
Like the
plenty of
reason,
money.
like current events
They
aren't
should
even worth
equalize.
following.
I got with NATO.
You're not allowed to
I
have
shut down.
your
I
own
got
take.
them to put up hundreds of billions of absolutely.
Do you want
over.
Ukraine to win this war?
You know who else wanted peace talks? Putin. Well, shit, man. That does not surprise me because, you know, the people on what they consider our side, they've been making money off of keeping everyone fighting each other for years. It's where most of the money comes in. Money that doesn't ever come to our people to benefit our people, by the way. And yet, you know, we're supposed to just sit here and cheerlead a bunch of, you know, death. But then when it, you know, it's so selective. It's just. Anyway, here came across this as well. Former child star Matthew Lawrence says Marvel Studios director propositioned him for sex in exchange for a role in the MCU. Lawrence declined and then was fired by his acting agency.
Whether it's another woman or another man in power, there's been many times in my life where I've been propositioned to get a huge role. I've lost my agency because I went to the hotel room, which I can't believe they would send me to, of a very prominent Oscar award-winning director who showed up in his robe, asked me to take my clothes off and said he needed to take Polaroids of me, and that if I did X, Y, and Z, I would be the next Marvel character. I didn't do that, and my agency fired me because I left this director's room. And
along those lines,
a lot of these stories, a lot of my other male friends have gone through with both men and women in this industry. But there's a double standard, and this is where I bring Terry Crews. Terry Crews comes out and says it, people are laughing at him. Whether it's another woman.
So yeah, another person with another experience. Gotta love the entertainment industry, huh? Always willing to throw another piece of human life at the feet of these jackals. I forget what was behind this. There was a thing behind this. So I'm just going to move on. Then we had the Steven Crowder stuff, which, by the way, I'll bring up this next part where his former co-host went on to
Fine, Steven. And
Wow, okay.
now it was his bigger
Michael
client.
Malice's show.
And I was told by him that he was really there. He's like, and even when I asked him at first, he's like, sign who? What do you mean work with them? I don't know what you mean work with them. What? You know, it was sort of this very roundabout way until I realized, like, I keep getting fucked here. And I keep getting, like, less. I never get a bump and raise. And now things started getting progressively worse where I could never promote my shows. Sudden it got really bad to the point where my agent was yelling at me, and he'll watch this and get pissed, and I don't give a shit, but he would
he literally raised his voice also.
My agent was screaming at me, and that's when he and I fired him once, and it was already, he was screaming at me in my car. He's like, go in there and do your job. And I go,
no beard.
I am doing my job. I go, that's the problem, is I've always done my job. There's no complaints from the company.
Okay, maybe it's the other clip, but apparently Crowder installed a no one talk light into his studio. Whenever he wanted everyone else to shut up, he turned on a certain light that would turn on, and then everyone else was supposed to let Steven Crowder have the floor. So maybe it's in this one.
She's burning in hell.
But you also had some other news. So you're officially have left Louder with Crowder.
I did. I left a while ago. Yeah, a little while ago. I had left. I think we talked that day a bit. I had jury duty actually when I was going to go back onto the show. They had offered an NDA that I had turned down, and he did give me a nice, going away thing, gift. I don't want to get into it, but it was still but they decided not to have me back on. I decided to leave, and I walked from the show. It was a long time coming, about a year now. It was just through various contract issues, and it's an odd thing because I wanted to address it, and we had talked about it a little bit. You made a very good point to me of like, I could either bring it up or have my story be told for me.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I'm never one of those people that wants to go out and kind of, it doesn't feel like narking, you know what I mean? But it's one of those things where after what happened, even when I left Anthony's show, there were so many people that drew their
Anthony
own. Anthony Cumia's show, for people that don't know me. I used to be the co-host there. So many conclusions were drawn to what actually happened as opposed to what actually happened. And I don't want people to think that there's things that went on behind the scenes that didn't.
Yeah, so just to fill in the blanks, I think a lot of times, and we've all experienced this on social media, I certainly have, when someone doesn't get their story out and there's gaps, the audiences will fill in those gaps for you and leap to all sorts of conclusions and just kind of create a narrative that doesn't at all comport to reality. So a lot of times I don't always do this, but it's important to be like, all right, here's the tea, this is what really happened, and so on and so forth. Do you want to talk a bit about what led up to this decision on your part?
Yeah, I guess the beginning of it was everything was going pretty well at the beginning of the show when
did you join that show? Let's talk about that.
Okay. I joined the show I was first offered February 2001.
Okay. 2001?
No, 2021.
I'm going to speed it up a little
bit.
Okay.
I'm like,
I don't want to put
we needed to make America laugh because they knew something was on the horizon.
Yes, I joined in my 5th year of high school, which is a fact. Yes, I joined shortly before 9/11. Yes. I joined in February 2021 when Anthony, I thought, was going to be moving to South Carolina.
Yeah.
So Steven had made an offer to come work for him, and I had been guesting on the show fairly regularly, so I took him up on that offer.
Okay. How did you find it? Let's talk about that. Do you want to talk about the end? Do you want to talk about the beginning? How do you want to talk about this situation?
The beginning was great for a while. It really was. It was a lot of hanging out, collaborating, putting out sketches, doing the things that I was hired for. Really a grind. but that was part of it. The pot was sweetened, so to speak, is what I was offered. It was not this gigantic payday that everybody seemed to think. It was almost no bump, but
You didn't get $50 million.
No, I didn't get. I got about $1,000 extra a year, but it's hard to talk about money, but it was. But I knew that it would help on the road, and he wanted me to be there on more Fridays, and that started being a point of tension, because I started making money on the road, and I did say I would be there on more Fridays, but every time I would show up, he wouldn't show up.
Okay.
And I just said, all right, well, I'm just going to work or go and see my son, and he's in Detroit, and I said as long as everything was working out, there was a possibility that they could move there.
Yeah, they meaning your family.
Yes. So about a year went by, and things had gotten more tense. Like, things were more restrictive. For example, I had been more censored as things went on, where I couldn't, for example, say the word "cum."
Okay.
Like ejaculate. I forgot when I made the joke that was offensive or whatever it was.
You could only eat it. You couldn't say it's going to go in your mouth, not come out of your mouth.
I could eat it with a spoon, or I could say "yummy yum yums" when referring to it, but I could never actually say.
I could eat it with a fork. I could eat it on a ship. I can't finish the rhyme, but you get me.
I could refer to. I could go, "Those are nice gutters you have," but I couldn't say that I had the gutters.
They're vascular. I'm very pleased with them these days.
Yeah. Oh, you're still there?
They're back. Yeah.
Good for you. I
Thank
don't
you.
have cum gutters at all.
Shh, don't say that.
Well, I just don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, I know these guys are an entertainment fucking goldmine, but I did want to let him speak for himself. Good to see you as well, man. I've been doing well. Getting old, a son of a bitch, right? But I don't know. Might come back to streaming and doing videos again. No promises though. But yeah, let's continue on here.
You're not allowed to use that word in this show.
I forgot about the email you sent me.
No, you're not allowed to use
Chris,
those
good to
gutters.
see you,
Any
buddy.
reference to manual labor is for bot.
I'm sorry, I don't have the cum. And then it became a little weird because a light was put in where it was.
There it is. Here it is. The light.
And it was basically a Dave Don't Talk button.
Wait, so there's literally a light bulb? What color was the light bulb?
There was 4 lights in a row.
There were 3 lights.
I'm serious. And when it was hit, I wasn't supposed to talk. And they
Do you
said,
remember, was it like a regular colored light bulb or was it like red?
It was
Wild
like
TV,
like
that
a
could
yellow,
be fun.
a pretty bright yellow, like like yield.
I always
So
had
it's like
fun
off
making
camera,
those.
but in your eyesight.
Yes, and
would he be the one pressing the button, or was there a producer pressing the button?
He would press it.
So like Mr. Burns, like he had a button under his desk or the table, and when it's Steven's turn to talk and Dave needs to shut the F up, he presses this button.
Yes.
How do I get this to happen? Because frankly, we're 13 minutes in and you're already on my last nerve. This is with Michael Malice.
Aren't you hitting it now? Oh, that's just Zoom doing it. He had that. Well, and then I was told that he's like, well, that was always there, and I'm like, no, I would have noticed the light and been told about it. And you're like, I know it wasn't there, So
wait, so how were you informed that there is a Don't Talk light, and what was your reaction?
I was pissed a bit because I know my job. I know that he talks a lot. I know that he's the star of the show. I know when to throw him what he needs to be thrown. I know when to sit back. It's what I did with Anthony for years. It's what I did next to Artie. It's what I do. I'm not trying to ever steamroll him.
Right. Wait, so I'm sorry, part of your contract, a proposed contract, was that your family has to be moved across state lines.
Correct.
Including your kid. You have a son. How old's your son?
8, 7
Okay.
at the time.
Okay, so pull him out of school during the school year, and he's coming to Texas. Okay.
Yeah. Dave is here every week unless he notifies us well in advance for a show, just like a doctor's appointment. Can't be gone any more than every 3rd weekend.
Wait, so let's break this down also. Steven has started touring as a comedian.
Yes.
Steven is no dummy. Steven is very well aware that you, and every comic, weekends are when you tour, you hit the road, you make the money. So he is very clearly taking that secondary or even primary, possibly at this point, source of income from you, because you're just going to be sitting in Dallas for no reason, because it's not like you're doing shows on the weekends with Crowder.
Right, and gone every other 3rd weekends means every 6 weeks.
Okay.
And then writes for show every day.
I'm sorry, I just want to break this down. Was it ever said to you or intimated to you that your touring is affecting somehow your performance or writing for the main show?
Oh, my writing? No. They felt that I had nodded off a few times, which really only happened maybe once or twice on a Monday because of like a delayed flight.
Okay.
But tough shit. I mean, that's my opinion. I don't care.
Okay.
Like, like Anthony never would have cared. Anthony was so full. Like Anthony would promote my stand-up where I don't even think I would really have to.
Okay.
That's how, even when you look back at the Opie and Anthony days, that's how everybody was making money.
But at the same time, it's also like if you're going to be up at 7 or what o'clock, you have to be there at 7. You're not exactly going to be all chipper. It's not like you're.
No, and I'm writing on the plane too.
Yeah.
And so I'm always working. Like there's not one assignment that I didn't turn in, and I have every screen grab to do that. There's nothing that I ever.
And in fact, you're writing a lot of sketches that just didn't get greenlit, so you're doing extra work in addition to what did get greenlit.
Oh yeah, that's the next part, which is writes for show every day in the form of sketches, in studio bits, pulling from previous sketches, previous show ideas, and that can be turned into sketches. So that's just busy work that I did every day, just for the sake of busy work, which I'll be honest, I hate. It seems so pointless for a show to do, but it's his show. But it's like, why don't we make the best show we can do? Instead, that's why I think SNL just comes off like it's written by the CIA, because you're just throwing 5 billion things at the wall instead of going, let's take these 7 things and master it.
Yeah.
I just feel like whenever we would do that, like whenever I would host the show and we would put together a sketch that morning, it would look really good, at least for what I wanted, because we were focusing on one thing, not trying to make 3,000 things and then going, well, this half-assed one should work.
Yeah.
Now, man, granted, he has millions and millions of followers, but his show was once that first idea, not just throwing everything just to have busy work, to look like a hard worker.
Yeah.
He was a hard worker. Now it's an illusion, The next.
So yeah, I think that about covers it. The do not talk when the light is on. And then of course, showing everyone his junk, which I don't know about you. I'd be so pissed. I'd be so fucking pissed if I was like, you know what? All right, I'll go work for Crowder. And next thing you know, I'm seeing is Johnson. I'd be fucking livid, man. Let's see what else we have here. Here's another. I meant to bring this up a little earlier, actually. Tucker Carlson says Jeffrey Epstein was murdered and in jail. A friend of mine was one of the last people to talk to Epstein, thinking emoji, of course. The day he was killed, he had a bail hearing. In 2 days, he thought he was getting out.
That he was murdered. He was murdered in the special housing unit of federal lockup in Manhattan.
How do we know he was murdered?
Oh, well, look into it, dude. We did a whole segment on it on my show. Nobody cared.
I'm going to watch it after.
You should. It's beyond belief. And I'm very skeptical of any kind of conspiracy theory or whatever.
Why don't more people go after this, though?
We know that he was murdered because, well, for one thing, a friend of mine is one of the people who last talked to him on the phone the day he was killed. And he had a expectation of a bail hearing in 2 days. He thought he was getting out. He was not despondent at all. I talked to his lawyer, told me the same thing. They moved someone out of his cell. They put 2 people, one of whom was not even a full-time prison guard, on duty. None of the cameras trained on the cell worked. They were all out of it that night. They locked the front of the special housing unit that had 8 cells in it, but then they opened all the cells inside. So who was it? So I asked a really simple question, the Bureau of Prisons. Who were the other? So there are 8 cells, 16 minus his cell because he was alone. So that means there are 14 other inmates there that night. What are their names? Where'd they go? Some of them are transferred out right after. Who were these people? Can't tell you that. Really? You can't tell me that? Well, on the basis of what? Because some inmate at a federal prison's privacy concerns, like Trump telling, what are you even talking about? Meanwhile, the Attorney General of the United States under Trump, Bill Barr, issues a statement being like, no, we know it's totally. Bill Barr lied. There's no question that Bill Barr clearly suspected Epstein was murdered, but stopped the investigation into it. I went and read Bill Barr's book in which he explains all this, and it's like complete bullshit and transparent bullshit. So I have no idea why the Attorney General of the United States would be lying about this, but there's literally no question that he did. I know him. So Bill Barr's super nice guy. We reached out to Bill Barr like, hey, why don't you come on and explain why you lied about Jeffrey Epstein's death? No.
Right. The whole thing just fucking covered up. And so this is apparently, while we're on the topic of Tucker Carlson, this is what got him fired. According to the New York Times, this is the text that led to Tucker Carlson's firing due to the "it's not how white men fight" comment. Tucker Carlson, January 7th, 2021. A couple weeks ago, I was watching a video of people fighting on the street in Washington. A group of Trump guys surrounded an Antifa kid and started pounding the living shit out of him. It was 3 against 1 at least. Jumping a guy like that is dishonorable, obviously. It's not how white men fight. Yet suddenly I found myself rooting for the mob against the man, hoping they'd hit him harder, kill him. I really wanted them to hurt this kid. I could taste it. Then somewhere deep in my brain, an alarm went off. This isn't good for me. I'm becoming something I don't want to be. The Antifa creep is a human being. Much as I might despise what he says and does, much as I'm sure I'd hate him personally if I knew him, I shouldn't gloat over his suffering. I should be bothered by it. I should remember that somewhere somebody probably loves this kid and would be crushed if he was killed. If I don't care about those things, if I reduce people to their politics, how am I better than he is? Fired. You really can't, at least for me, I just can't help but laugh at the irony. Man, I'm trying to humanize with this person on the opposite side of the political spectrum than me. How dare you say that this is how white men fight? Fired. That'll teach him. That'll show him. Let's see, close out some of this stuff here. I can't help but laugh at some of this shit. This is the crazy world we found ourselves in, man.
What went on with Tucker?
Have I played the Alex Jones revealing why Rupert Murdoch fired Tucker Carlson? I have this clip here too. Hold on, just a second.
I'm going to leave it at that. And
no, you teased it. Come on.
Well, I mean, I'm going to say a little bit.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
Okay. Well, number one, there's a non-disparagement contract.
Of course.
He said nothing negative about him.
Correct.
To anybody.
Right.
And I'm just going to leave it at this.
I can see the wheels turning.
I'm going to leave it at this.
Yes.
It was a composite of reasons. He was against the war in Ukraine. He was against the open borders. He was exposing Hunter Biden. He was exposing the central bank digital currencies.
January 6th.
But I was told by sources very close to Tucker, and I'll leave it at this, that the Vanity Fair article is the closest to reality. He was about a month and a half ago, about 5 weeks ago, he was in Bel Air at the big mansion estate of Rupert Murdoch and his fiance, who is a big fan of Tucker and has become religious and Christian because of Tucker, and she thinks he's like a prophet. Tucker has become very Christian. Before he was kind of agnostic, raised Episcopalian.
Right.
Wasn't sure God was real, but liked Christians and thought they were good for society. But he really just, still thought it was kind of silly. Then he's had experiences, seen things, grown, and at some point I'm sure he'll talk about the details of it, but had some really interesting experiences. Kind of Saul of Tarsus on the road to Damascus things, to where he really knows it's a fight between good versus evil. He's been saying that. And Rupert Murdoch is an atheist and got really freaked out, wouldn't talk, basically left the dinner table. He was, quote, friends with Tucker before that. And then the next day broke up with his girlfriend and said, I'm done with you, his fiance, get out of here. And so whatever went on at that dinner, and I don't know all the details, I was just told, no, Vanity Fair is the tip of the iceberg. That's what it is. And so Tucker is extremely, trying to be extremely close to God. You call it born again, but not really even in church.
Call it a spiritual awakening and then a conflict of conscience, perhaps.
Yes.
So I'm muted, am I? I got dead air indeed. Well, anyway, United Nations Geneva tweeted this out. We want peace. Silence the guns. Hashtag stop war. Hashtag incest in peace. It's been a strange year. It really has been. Here's another strange thing that happened. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says the CIA rigs elections and assassinates leaders who refuse to comply with their agenda. Now, I don't exactly know why this was hidden. Breaking. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. claims the CIA has a history of rigging U.S. elections and assassinating leaders who refuse to comply with their New World Order agenda via his interview with Freddie Sayers of Unheard. Why did they hide this? Yeah, I could not tell you. Strange time, man. Strange times to be alive. Confirmed Jeffrey Epstein's history as an FBI source. Back in 2007, the Department of Justice gave Jeffrey Epstein a sweetheart deal that deferred prosecuting Epstein for federal offenses, including the interstate sex trafficking of minors and recruiting minors to engage in commercial sex acts, in exchange for Epstein pleading guilty to Florida state-level solicitation and prostitution of procurement charges. The deal was shocking in both its timing and scope. It was made before the FBI had interviewed all of Epstein's victims and before the FBI had seized Epstein's computers. It immunized Epstein's known and unknown co-conspirators who were credibly accused of trafficking and abusing minors, a rare and troubling agreement you will not find in any other federal non-prosecution agreement. And it implicated both the U.S. Attorney and Southern District of Florida, Alex Acosta, and Main Justice in Washington, D.C., which approved the plea deal, delayed the grand jury, and stopped victims from being notified of the agreement violation of federal law. So it's really, it's just, everything just continuously gets swept up. Comes out and gets swept up again. We really do live in a strange time, man. Well, shit. I think that's about most of my stuff, man. I'll chill out for a little bit, but Davey might be gone, but you can still save Coach. Dude, I saw that. I saw that Coach got fucking dragged to the gulag. This was the last interaction I saw of Coach before he got taken away. Bring this up here. He was arguing with someone about the usage of artificial sweetener causing obesity. This is his reply here. You are obviously unaware of the studies that pretty much conclusively prove that the artificial sweeteners wreak havoc on the gut, increasing weight. Who is the fucking idiot now, asshole? I'm gonna miss those Kino fucking tweets, that's for sure. Play the arrest. Is there a clip? There's a clip of it, huh? Hold on. There's actual video, bros. Hold on, let me light my smoke.
Here! Welcome to Ukraine.
They got him, boys. Strange times, dudes. Yeah, that was Coach. That was Coach Red Pill Man. Here we go.
Vladimir Putin, he is, for all intents and purposes, what you would call an ethnic nationalist. But he is not an imperialist, the Kiev regime. I'm telling you right now. These people are neo-fascist, neo-Nazis. The West is the one puppeteering Zelensky, right? The Kiev regime also constantly shelling the regions of the Donbass. 16,000 people died after 2015 up until the start of this conflict. 1,000 children or 800 children were killed.
A few moments later.
Here! Welcome to Ukraine.
I wonder if he put out Putin books or if being a showman or if they planted that. I can see it going either way. Rip. Let's see. I think that is everything, right? All the stuff I've got up anyway. You couldn't write it any better. You really couldn't. Like, the shit that happens every day on our side of the internet is shit that you couldn't write if you tried. Shit. Even his arrests are Kino. That's one way of putting it. I didn't notice that they had fist bumped the fucking the SBU. That's crazy. Well, chat. It's about that time. We are on the Clown World timeline. I'll chill for a little bit longer, but I'm gonna go make some dessert and go lay down with my lady. Man, I stopped following the Ralph stuff, man. It just got dark. It just got dark. When you get a smoke before bed, yeah, that's what I'm doing. After the leaks? What leaks? Shit. I actually started going back to watching TV a while back. I've been watching House. House is pretty good. Did you follow Wings of Redemption's redemption arc? I watched him punch Boogie in the face several times. That was pretty good. Thanks, Keem. That was fucking excellent, man. that made my entire week. We got that. We got the iDubbbz Fall from Grace. That's been beautiful. I've been loving every second of that. This dude can't stop fucking hitting himself. Yeah, for real. Radio Ruin, right? Pardon me. But no, I got a Got approved for a loan for a house, so I'm saving. I'm saving up. Yeah, Wings have been training with those controllers. It's right. Now, last I heard, he was trying to kick the Xanax and the drinking. Man, no matter what I might think of somebody, I'll always support somebody trying to better their lives and better themselves, man. If that's not, like I said, I haven't really been paying close attention. If he's legitimately, if Ralph's trying to get clean and take care of himself, dude, good for you, man. That shit ain't easy. Especially, like, Xanax is a tough one. So, I mean, that shit ain't easy. I'm not, if for once the dude's actually trying to take care of himself, I'm not gonna spit in that direction, man. You do you. Good on you. If you're able to fucking kick it, it gets easier with time, homie. It gets easier with time. Shit, I still haven't had any alcohol in like longer than I remember. It's been more than a year and a half. I've been craving just like a pint of Jameson. I just want a little bit of whiskey. But eventually, one of these days. Same, man. And I've seen some people who were some pretty shitty human beings turn it around and become pretty okay. And I've seen it happen more often than you might think. So I'll always support somebody trying to get their life together, make themselves a better human being, and be there for their fucking kids. So I don't know how much of it is, kayfabe, right? But, if you're trying to take care of yourself, good for you, buddy. I don't think he survives the year, says Radio Ruin. You might be right. He last I saw him, he didn't look very good. But, yeah. I expected Booze to be a little harder to kick. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't miss it. Ugh, I've been thinking about it. Like, I was like, maybe on my Friday night, get myself a pint. Jameson on the rocks. Sounds delightful. He's not. It's disappointing to hear, bro. Disappointing to hear. He loves to lie about getting sober. That's what I would expect, to be quite honest. That's the Ralph I know. That's the guy I know. But yeah, there's a dude, if he could just like go get himself a normal job and try to live off the internet, I think it'd do him a lot of good. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at, Radio Ruin. If it's genuine and sincere, I'm pulling for him, but I won't hold my breath. Anyway, where are we at? 144. No, we're 13. Oh, just stand up for a second. See, I do have other shit, but I'm ready to call it a night. But yeah, all the shit that's been going on, like that side of the internet, I haven't really been paying much attention to it. All the, I did see Fuentes throw a fucking punch a week ago or so. Let's see if I can find that. Oh man, some of these. Look at that punch. Look at that punch. Don't fucking touch him. Just like in grade school. I'm glad I can still get a couple of laughs out of some of this shit. He did land more punches than Worski. Yeah, you know, you've got a point there.
Wait, you need to stop. You need to stop.
I'll play the full clip here.
Don't fucking touch him. Stop. Yeah, we will. Sure. Just fucking stop.
You just walk away.
Allegedly, all of those people are adults. What is up with that jacket? I think it's one of those like Kanye jackets. I'm not sure though. I could be wrong. Yeah, to Boogie's credit, man, he showed up. He showed up. Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess he had the bowling event, but you know, like I said, I haven't really been paying much attention to any of that. It's been kind of just boring. All right, yeah. I'll try to be more consistent with streaming and whatnot. I'm thinking Sunday nights might be my regular night. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, I know. It sounds so alluring, doesn't it? And I'm already just I haven't even been here an hour and a half, and I'm already like, yeah, you know, it's time to go to bed. But I will start trying to stream a little bit more consistently on a regular schedule. But I'm gonna take off. So you guys have yourselves a nice night. Take care. Have a good week, and I'll see you a little bit later on down the line. Take care, everybody.